So say goodnight to the bad guy.
You looking at the bad guy. This the last time that you ever see a bad guy like me. You don't have the guts to be who you wanna be.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Honor Among Thieves. Your host, as always, Nelson Rodriguez Jr., coming at you with another special story right out of Florida. We got some paisans, like the Italians say. Got my man Damon Thrash coming through. What's up, brother?
What's happening, my man?
I'm excited. Stories like yours are the reason I started doing this right here. I want to find original stories that no one can believe and bring them to the world. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm a big fan.
Thank you. That means a lot. Means a lot. Appreciate it, brother. First and foremost, love what you got going on with Ink to Ink.
Appreciate it.
Trying to make a real difference.
Absolutely.
It's one thing to have a great story, but every story, in order for it to truly be great, it has to have a completion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's off to you for what you're doing now. I
appreciate it. You know, the biggest thing for all of us is to be recognized by our peers. You know what I mean? That's when you know you really made it. It's not really about the money. Now, the money helps now, you know. But when you're recognized by the people who you work in an industry with, you know, that's when you know you're good. So.
Definitely. So, my brother, we go pretty deep here. So, I'm excited. You have so many facets of your story that are interesting because you're a high-profile case, high-profile criminal, right?
Right.
That rose to the heights of where one can go in that underworld, in that underground,
right,
you know, world, that dark, that black market. But at the same time, with your prison sentence, it didn't lead the normal way. Like typically, guys like you would go to the feds. You ended up doing a lot of time in the state. So I'm interested in exploring a lot of that because you're a hybrid of so many different things in one story that are unique.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to dive into that for sure.
Definitely unique, you know. Definitely unique.
All right, brother. So let's start at the very beginning. Are you originally from Tampa, Florida?
No, I'm originally from small town, big hustle, Pensacola, Florida.
Pensacola, okay.
Home of Roy Jones Jr., Derrick Brooks, shout out to Bo, and a lot of other sports stars, man. Yeah.
Yeah, Roy Jones Jr. He was unstoppable, man. Like in his prime.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Emmett too.
Yeah.
Gotta throw Emmett in.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pensacola. That's crazy. I've always thought it was interesting, like when these big personalities come out of these small places. I mean, Muhammad Ali came out of Louisville, Kentucky.
Right.
You know, like
the greatest of all time, right?
Yeah. Kentucky, you know? Yeah. That's crazy. All right. So tell me a little bit about Pensacola. How long do you stay there? What was it like? What do you remember?
Man, Pensacola is, I wouldn't choose to be from anywhere else, to be honest with you. It's all three of the best worlds. You can go hunting one day, right? The next day, you can be on the beach surfing, parasailing. Then the next day, you go into some of the best high school football games in the country, you know. It's also the home of the Blue Angels. So where I'm kind of sub from, I'm originally from TA, Truman Arms, Saigon. Shout out to all my homies from the West. But sub, I moved to the East Side in Warrenton. I was born uptown. So I have a phrase. It's called uptown born, TA raised, East Side made, Warrenton paid. So I kind of traveled all over the city, you know, and I played sports, you know, obviously Pop Warner football, Dixie Youth baseball was big growing up. But in any small town, there's not a lot of opportunity but sports and the military, you know. For me, coming from a blue-collar side of my parents, my grandparents, and then the kind of hustler side of my stepdad and my real dad's side as well, had a little bit of that as well. I was kind of exposed to a lot. But growing up, man, it was just great. It was a time where, you know, leaving the projects and going to the back of the mom and pop Mary's store, Dixon store in Wedgwood, or the station in Lincoln Park, and taking $1 and coming back with 2 bags full of candy. You know, it was just a time and a city that was at one point innocent. You know, so growing up there, man, it was, you know, I wouldn't change it. It was amazing. So.
What were your parents like? What were they into? What did they work in?
Oh man, my parents, my mom, man, shout out to Honeydew, man. My mom, strong Black Panther, a strong Black woman, bro.
Black Panther, huh?
She was, bro. She Black power. She loves her people, and she instilled that pride in me too. My mother is a daddy's girl. She was my grandfather's favorite. But me and her relationship was tough growing up, you know, because her and my real father, you know, they kind of bump heads. And, you know, I didn't find out, you know, who my real father was until I was like 13, you know. But my stepdad, bro, that's like my ace. He raised me, you know, and he's one of the greatest men I ever met, even though he comes from the street hustle. That's all he knew. But big heart, took care of his family, and not perfect, but just overall it's more positive than negative. Mm. I learned all of most of my early street hustle from him, just watching as a kid, riding with him, because he's a legendary guy from where I'm from, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how I got a little bit of tinge and a curiosity of, you know, the street life.
Middle school, elementary school, or you getting into trouble?
No, man, middle school.
What are you doing as a kid?
Elementary school, man, I was a sharp kid, man. I was a great student. Like I said, I had a stepdad that was one of the top hustlers, so we lived great. You know what I mean? And I had an uncle that also was a top dog as well. So as a kid, you're not knowing that all of these benefits from growing up are from illegal proceeds. It's just that everybody wants to be around your people, and, you know, so like I said, I played sports. I was one of those kids who, before things came out in the projects, I had it. The Nintendo, the BKs, the Fila, the Lacoste, you know what I mean? I was the kid of a drug dealer, so to speak, you know? Mm. So now there were times when my stepdad was locked up that things were tight, you know, but early on, he didn't go away long. He would stay gone 6 months, 8 months, you know, doing a little time. But then as soon as he came home, it was a big party. Everybody come to the house. Everybody knew things were going to be all right, you know, and they were. So my childhood, you know, was great. And growing up with my homeboys in TA, you know, being a project kid, you know, you learn how to have a heart. You know, I was the smallest out of all of my homies that I grew up with. And I think I probably fought the most. And early on, it was, you know, dog eat dog, you know what I mean?
Did you feel like you had something to prove because you were the smallest kid?
I did, man. I had something to prove because I didn't have brothers like everybody else, too. You know what I mean? I had 3 younger sisters. At the time, I didn't know I had, you know, 2 other brothers, you know? And I had a couple of cousins that were around my age that, you know, they stuck by me too, but it's nothing like having your brother in the house with you. And all of my friends, they had older brothers. So that was a bit challenging, but man, we did some of the craziest stuff as kids because our project is right in front of a railroad track. So we called it little boys, and big dogs, right? The big dogs would hit trains. When the train stopped, bolt cutters, and man, from dirt bikes to appliances, you know what I mean? It was just, the projects was like its own world, you know? I grew up in an era where if you made it to the projects on a high-speed chase, you were good. You know what I mean? And it was like a normal, we didn't know that these things were wrong, and in no way we're here on Honor Amongst Thieves to glorify crime. We're here to show a story and a progression, right? So in those stories like Goodfellas or
Now you're
a
speaking
Bronx Tale,
Now you're speaking my language.
those coming of age stories.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like my story and my childhood was like a coming of age story because, you know, I got a chance to see life from the pre-crack era and how families were together and how great things were until I saw the peak of the crack game and then the decline of people who were unwittingly a victim of using the drug because they didn't understand what was happening. So, for example, back then, when crack first hit, we could walk around and kick matchboxes and just look on the ground. And it was so much drugs around that you would find crack on the ground.
Wow.
Yeah. And I also grew up with guys from Miami because at that particular time, the Miami boys were a staple in our projects. They ran crews alongside my stepdad and uncles, and they coexisted. You know what I mean? So my project was kind of like a Miami hub, you know? And, you know, you got a chance to speed up, so to speak, on game because we were getting the game straight from Miami.
Right.
You know?
Was that your father's plug?
No, my father's plug, he dealt with them, but my stepfather's plug was half his family from California, the other half from Miami. So he stayed, that's what made him such a great hustler because he would go to Miami and get work. He'll go out west and get work. So he was different, you know what I mean? And his crew and my people were different. So our project, along with a project called Scammy, we call them my cousins, Trey Deuce. Shout out to Trey Deuce. It's a family, not a gang. We kind of like with cousins. We were like a quarter mile away from each other. So Miami boys were in our projects and Jamaicans, the Jamaican posse were over in Scammy.
Another legendary, notorious crew from that era.
Absolutely. So the way it was back then, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the crime rates of, you know, the mid and late 80s, but people talk, people talk about, oh, it's crazy now. But when I first started hustling as a JIT, you had to total pistol. Because the crackheads of the day are not the crackheads of 89 and the early 90s. The crackheads of the 80s and the 90s will kill you. They will rob you and kill you, bro. It was a different ball game. So they called us JITs. We all used to swarm together and chase cars to make money. It was an open drug market. Everything was wide open, you know? So with those two projects, though, the difference was, and you had other places around the city where you can go and buy weight, but mostly people came to Truman Arms and Scammy Arms to buy weight in powder and coke, you know? And if you didn't know somebody, bro, you're going to get robbed. You're going to get robbed. I seen dudes ran out the projects butt naked, get robbed, running out the projects. So many times you see dudes run out the projects naked.
So many times you saw that more than once?
It was like a thing. It was like you know, somebody come through green, gets robbed, come up out the clothes, run them up out the projects, you know? And think about this. I tell, you know, a couple of my partners, man, what if we'd have had, you know, camcorders and the phones that we had back then, the stuff that we saw.
You couldn't get away with much, though. That's part of the problem today, right?
Yeah. Today you couldn't get away. You can't.
No, there's no secrets.
No. Back then, though, it was a constant upbeat to each spot because even in Miami or California, everything was in spots back then, too. You don't pick up your phone and call somebody to buy work. You had to go to a certain spot to buy drugs. So everybody who wanted to spend money either had to go to a dope spot that they knew of, whether they were buying a 20 or they were buying a key, right? So the traffic was so much more consistent and condensed. It was to a point to where our first real hustle in the projects was we would get steel flashlights from the hardware store.
Like the cop flashlights, those long ones, those big ones?
The plastic ones, though.
Oh, the plastic ones, okay.
And get steel batteries, put them in it, and when sales would come up, when the dealers were selling the dope, we would be flashing the flashlight in the back seat to find where we could take out the car.
Mm.
And, bro, it would be all types of valuable stuff. That was our first hustle, you know, clipping smoker cars. You know what I mean? So it was a time of immense money making. And you would see people come from extreme poverty in the next week or so, they would be rich, man.
In a week?
In a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Perfect example. I'm not going to call his name out, but I highly respect this dude. But I was in 7th grade. My stepdad had went out to prison. My uncle was jammed up. My uncle had 30 years in the feds and went to trial and lost. He ended up eventually giving it back on appeal, right? So everybody gone, my uncles, my stepdad, all of them fell on the same case. We're in straight poverty. All of the cars and houses gone and all of the shoes and all of the nice stuff. My mom is working now. I've never seen her work before, you know? So I'm going to school trying to play basketball in 7th grade. And I had homeroom with this cat. Me and him were cool, right? And I liked the cat because he was genuine. And I came from the projects. At this time, I was going to school on the east side, Workman Middle School. Shout out to Workman. But this kid was poor, bro. He came to school smelling like piss, dirty clothes. But man, we would trade tapes, NWA, EPMD, AMG, just, you know, we would swap and in the bathroom. And I used to get a little weed and, you know what I mean, middle school. But, bro, this kid just stopped coming to school for about 3 weeks, man. And me, I understand the transition of how quick it is because I'm from the project. I've seen kids who dropped out of school and they driving candy-coated verts the next week. I understand it, but I saw the effect of other people seeing this happen. Homeroom, he ain't in class. Teacher them, he ain't in class. He was a smart kid too. Man, 3 weeks later, this kid comes back to school, man. Big bracelets, big chunk.
With the rope chain and the
rope, the tiger head,
and the Kango,
tiger head ring.
Adidas tracksuit.
No, back then too, Gucci, Fendi,
Bandana.
MCM,
Okay.
all of that stuff was popping.
Wow.
If you were in the streets, it's just resurfacing now. All of the design.
Right, of course.
Back then, you know, I was wearing the Louis V. We used to have the pouches you put the money in, and the Louis V hats with the chrome LV. My cousin used to bring them from California for it, right? But this kid shows up, man, and you can tell he's not fronting. He comes to class, bro. He gives everybody the side eye but me. Chunks me $50, you know what I mean? And tells me I should come to a spot called Copacabana. You need to come to Copacabana with me, man. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, bruh, back then the term was your own. People would say, oh man, you know, such and such own, man. And he like, yeah, I'm on, you know. So we leave homeroom. He said, man, I'm going straight to lunch. I just want to shit on a couple of, because the girls used to give, boy, they used to kill him, boy.
Success is the best revenge. Huh?
It's the best revenge. So I skip first period and head to gym with him so he can go shit on a couple of the chicks that's in gym. Bro, he's wadded up. He is talking so much shit, bro. And you got to remember, we're in the 7th grade.
7th grade. So what are you, 13?
7th grade, yeah. I know you've heard the stories about the cats in New York who, young millionaires or whatever. This stuff was happening in small cities too, man. You know? But this kid talks to the chick and tell the chick, yeah, you know, she wanna hang out with him. So we leave. I walk out with him, bro. I walk across the street with this cat. This cat is in a gold Caprice Classic. The box Chevy, though.
Box Chevy.
He has 30s, Craigler spoke 30s, and there used to be some rims called Royal Seals. They like Vogues. Royal Seals, major music in the car. Bro, for someone who's in the 7th grade, it was like a really defining moment for me, even though I'd seen it in my project, and it was like, wow. It put a thought on my mind. It didn't get me to the point to where I wanted to hustle, but it was like I really rooted for him. And me and him are still good friends to this day. You know. So that's kind of what it was like, you know, growing up in the projects and in the scope of seeing the transition to the streets. The down part about it was when we started hustling as kids, we started seeing some of our homeboys' parents on crack. Thank God my mom never got involved with drugs, but my stepdad ended up being a user, but he shook it. But it was such a devastating thing because when we finally entered into the drug business, you know, like my mom understood the game. So she protected me and she made sure that I could be successful, you know. But other parents couldn't understand it. I was the kid who other parents didn't want their children to be around that were my age when I got into the game. You know what I mean? Because I'm grown, I'm paying bills, I'm taking care of things, and I can do what grown people do, and I run with grown people. The kids who are my age, their parents were like, I better not see you talking. I better not see you even having a conversation with him, you know? But seeing the transition, now it came to a point where I became the kid who was serving my friends' parents. You know what I mean? And at the time, I didn't realize what was happening. But I see a short stint later, an older homeboy of mine was like, you know what? You choose who you serve. You don't have to serve everybody. If you feel some type of way about serving, don't serve them, man. You know what I mean? And I stopped. You know, I didn't serve any of my homeboys' moms. Now they pops. They was pops. You a grown man. You know what you're doing. But those were some of the things that I dealt with, transitioning from a child.
Walk me through the first time, like the moment you decided, all right, I'm gonna do this. What happened there?
So, I used to play football. I used to play for a couple of teams, but the team I was playing for at this particular time that I had most success with was the Salvation Army Browns. I played flanker and backup quarterback. At the time, my best friend played quarterback. His arm got broke, so I took over as quarterback. Our running back, though, he was supposed to be an NFL player. Bro, option right, option left, option right, flanker pass right, simple plays. This dude would get the ball, and he scored every time, right? And I'm gonna mention this dude's name because he's a street legend where I'm from, and I have a lot of respect for him too. Brian, though, this guy name is Maurice Newberry. So I would just pitch the ball to Maurice, man, score. So we ended up going to the Coca-Cola Bowl, played right here in Fort Lauderdale. We traveled with Cap for the Salvation Army. We make it all the way there. We were 9-0, bro. We get all the way down here, we lose by 1 point. It was heartbreaking. We get back home, months go by. One particular day, I ride my bike from the projects to the east side, and my tire popped. I go they used to have these little small Scotty's hardware stores back when we were kids. You can go in and you can cuff some patches, inner tube patches to patch your tire up, right? I grab the patches and I'm walking down the street towards Copacabana. As I'm walking down the street, I get to this legendary spot called George Liquor Store. It's a corner intersection over the interstate, and all of the taxis back in the day, when they had the taxi game, the taxis transported a lot of the people who were using drugs, and it was a part of the network, right? So I get to this corner, and all of this traffic is bumping. All of these sales are being taken place. And this Chevy, a dunk, emerald green rag, 30-spoke Krager and Bogues, squatting, wham, real system in it, right? The whole corner that four-way is lit up. Everybody stopped. And back then, they used to put letters on the front of the windshield, right? The car pulls up and swings into this liquor store. This little short dude, this cat named Lil Jeff, he was a grown man. He looked like a kid, though. Grown-ass man. He had a pistol look like a cane, right? Well, fire your ass up, for real. He was driving this Chevy. He gets out and opens the back door. Guy jumps out. Rust-colored, you'll never forget it. Rust-colored Gucci tracksuit, rust-colored fur Kango, gazelles, big jewels, Gucci sneakers. And, you know, Florida goals are the thing, right? Big. He has a bag of crack like this, man, halfway full, and everybody rushes this cat. He's just serving it. As he's serving, the little dude, Jeff's getting the money, throwing it in the back seat. I'm just watching. It's a girl in the back seat. She's grabbing all the money. She's counting. The music is bumping, right? So as this music is bumping and he has about this much shake in the bag. He throws the bag, bro, and they go crazy. And girl, he looks and he sees me. He says, D, what you doing up here? I'm like, what you doing up here? He asked me, how your dad doing? My dad was locked up. He used to be a runner, too, for my dad. And his mom was on drugs. He was a kid, too, that was kind of in a bad situation. And he had an older brother, too. He hustled. But he asked about my pop. And I was like, I'm going to go see him. He goes into his pocket. Hundreds, 50s. He finally finds this wad. He flips through it. He hands it to me. You got money in your pocket? I'm like, nah. He gives me the money. He said, get from up here on this block. Tell your dad I said, what's up? He gets in the car. The Chevy had curtains in it, man. Green curtains. The car Chevys had curtains in them back then, right? Lil Jeff shuts the door. He tells me, I knew Lil Jeff since I was a kid. He said, boy, what's up? Tell Stanker, that's my pop. I said, what's up? Gets in the car. He pulls off. Now, picture this. The front of that Chevy, what it had wrote on the windshield was, too late for the vapors. Guess what song he was playing? Biz Marquee, too late for the vapors. Can you feel it?
Oh, yeah.
Bro, at that point, I knew it. I knew I was going to hustle. You couldn't tell. That was my running back from the year before. The dude I used to hand the football off, wide right, option left. He was the epitome of a kid kingpin, Maurice Newberry. Yeah.
All right, guys, taking a quick break from Honor Among Thieves podcast to bring you a word from our sponsor, and that is Federal Prison Tips. At Federal Prison Tips, we help people navigate the justice system from indictment, reentry, everywhere in between. Whether you're a loved one trying to get relief for someone that you love that is in federal prison, you are currently in federal prison or about to go to federal prison, we can definitely help you. Everything from plea mitigation, sentencing mitigation, PRSAR challenges, anything about guidance while you're in prison, actually what to expect if you're a first timer and have never been there. Whether this is your second case, third case, you haven't quite learned your lesson yet. Either way, we can help you with everything that has to do with federal prison. Good time, FSA, second chance credits, getting designated to a facility. Any issues you might be having within the federal prison system, we can definitely help. Honor Among Thieves Podcast. Mention that you saw us on the podcast and you'll get special rates only given to those who listen to the podcast. Again, 407-434-0175, extension 7. Hit us up, federalprisontips.com. Contact us. Let them know you heard about them through me. Now let's get back to the show. So how'd you start in the game? Obviously, you work your way up. So how'd you start? Like what was your first, how'd you go in? Who'd you approach? What position in the team did they give you? That kind of stuff. What happened?
That's funny too and unique as well. So that money that Maurice gave me, it was about, I think it was $160 some ones and fives. Looked like a knot. But to a kid my age, that much money was a lot.
That was a lot, yeah.
I go across the street to this hotel, and I used to go by there all the time and just ask them for water. And this lady would run me off. This time I go and I sit in the restaurant, and she asked me, "What are you doing in here? You want some water?" I said, "No, I want a menu." I brought by me a cheeseburger, some fries, and a Dr. Pepper. So I go to school, man, and as you know, the kid that I'm not gonna mention, he isn't coming to school. But I had another partner I kind of grew up with, and he told me to meet him in the bathroom at the homeroom. I go to the bathroom. He say, "Do you know what this is?" He hands me a matchbox. I open the matchbox. I'm like, "Yeah, these rocks." People say crack. We used to say rocks back then. Man, these rocks, man, where you get these from? How you know about that? What you know about? It hit me. He don't know what it is that he got. Then he asked me, "What you give me for it?" "I'll give you $10. "Oh, no. Go ahead then. You don't know what to do with it anyway. It ain't but $20 worth of stuff anyway. Bluffing. He like, "All right, give me $10. I give him the $10, man. He gives me a matchbox full of rocks. About $500 or $600 worth of crack.
Boom. You're in the game.
I'm in the game.
Just like that.
Just like that, bro. But I could have easily went to my cousin or somebody in the projects who probably would have gave me shit, and I had thought about it and I was going to, but that opportunity showed up. So I get to work and I take the bus and get off by Copacabana. I get off by Copacabana, and remember, I know how to sell drugs, rocks. I run through the rocks. I get a smoker. I had butter too back. You got the hard white. You got the butter. I had that gas butter, and wasn't around. A lot of it wasn't around. Man, I ran through the work. Right, I made like $7.20, and I go to school the next day. Waleed's like, "Hey, I got 2 more of them boxes." I'm like, "All right, you want me? You gonna have to give me $25 for each one of them, though. You can't give me $10. You got me." He fishing. I give him the $50, man. I get 2 more boxes. I do the same thing. I run through it. Now I'm sitting at like $1,500, man, and still got rocks left.
So you flipped $60 into $1,500.
$60. I still got work. I still got about another $500 worth of dope now. Yeah, and I got $1,500 cash. And I called a cab and rode up to the mall and bought sneakers, bought jeans, I bought duck head shorts. Bro, I bought me clothes and took them to my friend's house because I couldn't let my mom know what was up. And
when did you buy the first $10 box, and when did you finish? When did you get rid of, like, how many days was that?
Before the end of the week, because I'm gonna tell you something. Back then, it was a lot more consistent money kept coming back then, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. That era is, you see the movies are true.
Right.
Paid in Full is true. You know what I mean? New Jack City is true. I've never seen nothing like the crack game. Never. It'll never be anything else like it. You know what I mean? And at that time, it was new. It was still a golden space to the point to where if you weren't from the projects, you really couldn't get a hold of it. You know what I mean? So it ain't take me no time. And it took me even less time to get caught with the dope and get kicked out the house. But I'll get back into that in a second. But the third time I was going to get work from him was this. This is what really took me to the next level. He said, hey, meet me at my house. I gotta get you a bag of it. But man, you're gonna have to give me $150 or something. Okay, fine. Bro, I catch a cab over to his house. We're sitting on the front porch. And me, I know what to look for. I'm looking around, and across the street from his house, it's a house that has a Seville Cadillac with a rag top with a diamond in the back. 30s and Vogues, right? Another Chevy with gold trim on it with these gold baskets. They used to have these baskets that looked like trues with gold on them back then. All of these are dope dealer cars. A BMW with BBSs on it. And I'm looking, I'm like, okay. In my mind, this is where he's getting his stuff from. So I'm asking him, hey man, what's up? Just wait a minute, he coming. Man, the house that we were looking at, it was a high porch on the side of the house. And the door swings open, and this kid comes running out with cut-off shorts on and no shoes, man. No shirt. He runs across the street, and when he gets up to us, a bag is sliding down his leg. The kid has a rolled up freezer bag with crack in it. This kid, I promise you, he couldn't have been no more than 9 or 10 years old at that. Like how I was. That kid said, you got my money. Wally said, yeah, I got your money. Where the stuff at? Give me the money first. Bro, you know my partner gave him them same $20 and got a roll-up bag full of rocks. We go behind the house and unroll it. The bottom of that bag was about this thick, full of broke-up fragments. I gave him $200 for it. That's how I got on. That's how I really got on. When I gave him them $200 for that, I got caught with work at the house, got kicked out, and I hit the block. I ended up moving in with an older cat, one of the cats that played junior football with us. His uncle was a kingpin. His uncle used to give him a lot of work. And I ran into them at Copacabana, and they was like, man, we see you up here. And, it get cold up our way. So back then, we were wearing the starter trench coats and, the Deion Sanders and the Barry and the Bo Jacksons. And there was this whole vibe back then. And we were all jits at this spot, chasing cars and selling crack. And he was like, bro, you up here every day, what you doing? So me and him started talking. He was like, man, I got an apartment. You can come stay. You got to put $50 in every day, though, in the jug. You know what I mean? I'm like, cool. So I ended up moving in with them. Yeah. This kid was 17, and he had a couple of tricked out cars, a 280Z. His uncle had an upholstery shop. His uncle also sold all of the MCM and Fendi, and his uncle knew my stepfather. And that's kind of how I knew them too.
Mm.
And it's like those loops you travel in. And bro, every day I would go to school. He'd come pick me up from school. We'd go to the dope spot. And man, we would chase cars and make money.
How old were you, 17?
No, he was 17. I was 14, getting ready to turn 15.
14 years old.
14. Getting ready to turn 15.
Wow. Wow. We haven't even gotten into adulthood yet. Okay.
Not really.
All right. So you move out at 14 years old.
14, I get kicked out.
You're moving on a weekly basis. How much work are you pushing at this point?
I'm doing easy every day around at least 500 a day.
So
easy.
So about $3,500 a week.
Yeah.
How much is re-up?
Re-up, probably about $1,200, because back then you could get a $800 cookie, and yeah, you could. But you got to remember too, now that you're out every day, it's like you're in a competition with so many other people.
Right.
'Cause everybody at the same spot now. Me, I had a baby face. They called me baby face for a while because I was a kid, baby face, and the smokers just like me. So the older hustlers would be mad as hell, and my older partner and them used to have to, kind of protect me a little bit. Like, y'all better not fuck with him. You know what I mean? But yeah, and it was, you had those days. I don't want to make it seem like every day was just a constant day where you just sold dope, because it was slow some days. You know what I mean? And a lot of times early in the mornings, people worked. So there was a slow period to the game too. It wasn't just a constant thumper, but in those rush hours, and bro, it was so much money being made, and it changed the trajectory of not only myself, but all of us young kids who entered into the streets at that age. We didn't value no money. We didn't realize it, that we didn't value money, because
it was so easy to make.
Easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fast money.
Yeah.
I've learned that a lot of the drug dealers I've interviewed on this show, they say that their concept of money is all kinds of fucked up in their head now, because one of them is working construction now, making $50,000 a year, and he's like, I used to go to Vegas and blow $50,000 in an hour.
Man, look.
So
I'm telling you, my concept of money is still that way now. And I think I was just telling someone the other day that it needs to be a specific type of financial class built around us, because we've been doing and spending money like that for so long, coupled with the fact that we feel like it's nothing that we can do.
Right.
It's nothing that we can't do. And it's got me into trouble a couple of times financially since I've been home, where I've mishapped and misstepped with money, because I'm thinking that I can produce a certain result, but it's not like how it used to be. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And
happens to me sometimes.
Yeah.
All right. So your progression in the game. So obviously you can't keep copping work from the 9-year-old, I'm assuming.
No, that's over with.
So you find a plug?
So the guy that I was staying at the apartment with.
He became your plug?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started working for him, and his deal was his uncle would give him like a key a month. He would break it all down, and he would distribute it between me and 2 other guys. And also he had this Jamaican that used to come once a month and bring a couple of keys to him. So he was not only fronting us, but he was selling work to different people. And the unique part about where I'm from too is we're so close to Alabama that Alabama would come to Florida, to where we're from, to buy weight. And he had a lot of clientele with people from Mobile and Foley and different small towns like Enterprise that would come by work, And those relationships later on would become assets of mine after he kind of took a decline. You know what I mean? So it all turned into more of a party, though, at that particular time, because we didn't value nothing. And the only thing we were doing now is we were traveling to New Orleans to the NBA, to the NFL games. We were traveling to Atlanta to see the Hawks play. We were renting out smoker houses for weeks and having parties and renting, there was a basic car craze. And basic car means, you guys, for y'all don't know, back then, people drove Jags, 600, 500 SCLs, and they smoked dope. And they would give you their car for a week for a certain amount of cocaine. You know what I mean? Crack. And we would get these cars, man, and keep them for months, man. And we would end up in high-speed chases. I was talking to somebody about the high-speed chases the other day. But it just became a party, man. It became a lifestyle that it had no exit because we were kids and we were watching the guy I worked for, we're watching his uncle and them. They're building little small empires with their businesses. So we're around the entrepreneur hustlers, the kingpins, but we're the hot boys of the street block hustle that's driving these nice cars and getting all of these older women. You know what I mean? So for me, and the game had peaks and valleys then too. That apartment didn't last long because it was egos in the room with him and a couple of other guys that were there. One of the guys that lived with us, him and them two became arch enemies. Then drug use, smoking weed all the time. I got introduced to doing blow, and I ended up catching my first, this is where my stint of breaking away from them came. He started kind of getting work from people and not paying them. At this time, the Jamaicans were really flushing the city, right? So you got the Miami boys where I grew up at. And what gave me an advantage too, I could go to the spot that's closer to Alabama and hustle because my mom lived out there at that time. But I also can travel to where I'm from and buy weight cheap and take it out here and make money. And a lot of the cats who were from out this space, it's only a few of them that would even have the reputation to be able to go to where I'm from to buy work. So those were the guys that had the clout, right? He wasn't one of them dudes that could go to that spot. So he would get with these Jamaicans because he had to flash the nice cars. They would front him work. He wouldn't pay them.
I'm assuming that leads to serious problems.
You're assuming right.
Okay.
It leads to serious problems. Two problems happened. We ended up going to buy some dope from these Jamaicans, some independents who were out of the they worked with the more bigger crew, but they knew each other. Their work wasn't that good. Jamaicans were notorious back then for what dope they call synthetic. Bad crack that had a little bit of coke in it, and they wanted the full amount of money. But anyway, we was going to a hotel to buy some work, and the guy that was driving us, when we get to the hotel and get into the room, you can't make this stuff up. He had a Dominican girlfriend. I ain't gonna say her name either. But when we get into the hotel room to buy the work, she's in the bed naked. When he gets into the room, the guy who I work for tried to shut the door, but he forces his way in. What you doing? Sees his girl, everybody told it fired in, man. You had to. Robbers were notorious back then, and they knew who had to work. They want to either get you for your jewelry and your money and your dope, or get you for one of them, either one of them, right? He ups on the Jamaicans. It turns into a robbery. They draw. Me, I ain't a robbing dude. I draw because now the Jamaicans are drawing. Everybody in this small room, he jumps in the middle of the bed and he's screaming at my partner who we used to work for to cover him. He starts beating the hell out of this girl. Bro, I always just been a money-getting dude, man. I ain't the type of dude. My stepdad taught me if you got to take a pistol to a deal, you don't need to do business with him. I kept my gun for protection because I was a young cat, you know? Anyway, he pistol whipped this girl, man. They robbed the Jamaicans. Me, I'm with them. I grabbed the work. I had a relationship with one of those Jamaicans too, man, that was pretty solid. And I was kind of trying to let him see that, bro, I really ain't got nothing to do with this. We end up leaving.
Sounds like another version of the motel scene in Scarface.
Similar to that, man. It was at a hotel in the neighborhood called a Drought Inn, man, and in Warrenton. And we get out the car with him. We divide the work up. He gets a little bit, and we get the rest. And it was some money involved. He leaves with the girl. We didn't know later on, about maybe 20 minutes later, when he gets to a corner, she jumps out the car running with a bloody sheet around her to a police car. Police get her. She know me. Everybody know Babyface, and we don't know Dane. You know, she mentioned my name, told his name. They get him. He tell on me. I'm a juvenile though. I go do my 21 days, but they end up catching the guy I work for too. So all of us caught cases. So this is how we break up. Mind you, everybody put it on me because I was a juvenile. So I ended up becoming direct file off that case. First time ever catching a case, I'm direct file to adult court because all of them told on me. And then tried to say that I was the one told on them. Why the fuck am I direct file? Right? So anyway, smoke screen, I do bond out. And at that point, I got my big boy shoes on. You know what I mean? And now I'm hustling with a case. And I'm really getting advice from older cats who are like, look, and my stepdad is doing time, and he's telling me, hey, stop playing, put money up, go see this attorney. You got to get insulated, because if you don't, they're going to send your little ass to gladiator school. And you ain't ready for that shit. You know what I mean? I always look young, and I always was a small cat. You know what I'm saying? I look young now. You know what I mean? So imagine back then, as a kid who was 15, getting ready to turn 16, who was been going up to Lancaster. When I caught the case, it was a guy in the cell. He said, "Jet, better get them push-ups right. You going to gladiator school." I'm like, nah, homie. I'm making bond. That was the difference between me and other cats that was, my age. I bonded out. But it was a wake-up call for me, man. It gave me a sense of urgency of what I didn't want to do in the game. Because the debt from what that other guy who I worked for, the debt from those other Jamaicans that he got to work from, it fell on me. Because I had a relationship with one of the other Jamaicans who said, hey, he didn't have nothing to do with it, but he definitely has to pay for this. So I had to take responsibility and work some stuff off, and it was some pressure put on me. But I had some older OGs around that was saying, nah, he ain't gonna be like this. He gonna work with y'all, but you're gonna give him a break because it wasn't on him. You know what I mean? So for a couple of weeks, I paid a few, and then they were like, you know what? You good. And it actually made my relationship with them a lot stronger. And they told me, don't fuck with that dude no more. You know what I mean? We want to fuck him up, A serious I ended up getting 6 months community control, 2.5 years probation on each of the counts. They dropped the robbery down to robbery with a deadly weapon. And I had a shooting in an occupied dwelling. They ended up dropping that because the age factor came in and all of the, and I had a paid lawyer, So, boom, I escaped prison that first go round. So at that point, it was like the game, it was around 93. And the game was taking a real shift. Now the feds did a roll in 87 that was quiet, and it took a lot of people off the street that were kingpins, right? My uncle was one of them.
Yeah, that big 86 case that took all of my guys in New York too. Yeah. It was mid-80s. They started cleaning up the streets.
Absolutely. So we caught that, and my stepdad and them caught that in 87, 88, right? That ushered me in for 89 to get into the streets in the game, right? So around 93, after we'd been balling and having a good time, 93, the feds do another roundup nationwide. I'm pretty sure you remember that. At that point,
taking out the last of the cocaine cowboys.
Yeah. Yeah. So at that point, I had kind of established myself as a youngster that bought weight. I would work between a quarter key and 18. But I couldn't get past the 18 though. It was too much fun going on, right? So I ended up violating the probation, and the feds had this big sweep. So when I violate the probation, all of these cats who I used to get work from and buy work from and be in the clubs with, mind you, my uncle owned 3 nightclubs. So he's out on appeal at this time. He got hit in 87. He got out on appeal in 89. He's changed his life, and now he bought these clubs from Luther Campbell.
Uncle Luke.
So Uncle Luke has a obviously there, his brother named Harry Newbold, which is my homie's dad, Harry Newbold Jr. Luke owned a club in Pensacola called Miami's. My uncle got out the feds. I think he connected with Luke's people there, or either it was his prior association. My uncle bought the club, and he turned the club around, and everything's off to a great start. So now I'm at the club, learning the club business at this particular time, moving a little bit of weight, and kind of in survival mode, kind of really just being in a space. You know what I mean? I wasn't the big guy. I wasn't even making a lot of noise. I just could maintain and I could do what I wanted to do, because it was back then, as you know, it was a lot of weight on the street, and it was a lot of heavy older cats still circulating. So when I violated, I went to do 8 months in jail. So when I went to do those 8 months, man, it was a pivotal time. It made me really think, because before I got the 8 months, remember I had 6 months community control. So the 6 months community control, then I had the 2.5 years probation on each one of them. The way we got the plea is my lawyer told them that I was on cocaine, which I had swallowed some coke in 93 and was in the hospital. So it all lined up. They sentenced me to Keaton recovery. I go in this 6 months treatment at Keaton in-house. I get out of Keaton, I end up violating. I'm hustling. I get picked up for the VOP. I go to jail. While I'm in court, they used to have this thing called will call when you have a VOP. Don't call us. We'll call you. No court date. If you had a private attorney, your private attorney could get you a date. My lawyer got me a date. We go into court. I had Judge Jones back then, the sweetest judge it was. This particular day, though, for my sentencing for the VOP, 3 counts. The roughest judge is taking the place of Jones, this judge by the name of Judge Tarbuck. Man, listen. When I say these judges had a goal of bet to give away 1 million years, man, it wasn't no lie. Judge Geeker, Judge Tarbuck, and a couple other judges anyway. That was the rumor. Man, when I went up for sentencing, Judge Tarbuck, I had a year suspended over each count to get into the treatment center. 1 year suspended, complete the sentencing and the treatment, and it counts towards the time and all of that, right? Man, this man gave me 7. He said, I'm not honoring this. He gave me 7.5 years each count, consecutive. 22.5 years at the VOP hearing. My lawyer's like, Your Honor, he's a substitute judge. My whole family's in the courtroom. I'm looking like, what's going on? They ushered me out the courtroom. So the old timer was like, Jet, woo-wee, boy, you better get them the old cats used to always talk about the push-ups, though. And they're like, man, you got 22.5 years, man. You need to get right and get some push-ups, but you going down the road, they got CRD. It was this thing called CRD back then, where they give out 180 days. Oh, you won't be gone that long, but you still need to get your push-ups. Man, I'm looking. So now the day is going by and they transporting people back. And every time they get ready to call my name, they tell me to sit back down. Finally, the bailiff came out, and back then they'll handcuff you before you go in the courtroom. And I'm thinking I'm finna go to transport. They take me back in the courtroom. take me back in the courtroom, and that judge said, I don't know who you know, but I don't like it, but I'm going to rescind this 7.5 years on count 1 and give you 1 year county credit for time served that you spent in Keaton, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, when he finished, I had about 20 more days to do in jail.
And how long had you been in?
I had been in I did 6 months in Keaton, got out, violated, hadn't been out about a month, violated. Then I got arrested again, and I had been in jail about a month and a half. I only had a year suspended, though.
So you went from getting 22 and a half years to basically time served at a treatment center.
Yeah, I did the 6 months in Keaton, which counted towards the 1 year suspended, right? So while I'm doing the Keaton time, it's counted towards the 1 year suspended.
Right.
So I complete it, get out, about a month I violate, I get arrested, I'm in jail waiting to be OP for about a month and a half. So you count it up, 6 months, a month and a half, almost right at 8 months. That's what you did on 11/15 back then.
Right.
And the judge didn't want to honor it. So he ended up giving me 7.5 years on each count running consecutive, which was 22 and a half years. As a JIT, I'm looking like, what the heck is going on? You know, what just happened? My people was like, I looked at my mom, my granddad was in court that day, my girlfriend, my baby mama, and then they ushered me to the back. When I got back out there, though, wasn't nobody in the courtroom but my granddad and my mom, and I think one of my sister. Nobody else knew that I hadn't given back the 22 and a half.
Right.
So they transport me back to the county. It's all over the county. Oh, damn, got 22 and a half years, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up getting out in probably about 11 days because they cleaned the jail out back then. They had so many people coming in and out. I get out, bro. Now it's 94. This one is really, things really take shape for me.
A dramatic turn.
When I get out from doing them 8 months, all of the dudes who were in power are gone from that 93.
Mm.
Now it's more people who are my peers who are in the seats. So now I got more favor because dudes see me and they respect me and they know I'm solid and they got work and they plugging me in. I'm going to keep dude's name out of it, but all of us have gone and done big time. And me and these dudes are still cool people. We respect each other, but just out of respect for them. But they plugging me in. So I'm plugged in and things are going great. But there's an edge that I have that most of them don't. Since the game has shifted, now they're getting a lot of kilo work, powder. And it's a lot of cats that don't know how to convert powder over to crack. I do. I learned how to cook coke watching my stepdad. And this Miami dude named Fat Stan used to cook for one of my OGs. And I used to sit in the apartment while he cooked keys. So I learned how to cook the straight drop and turn it into cookies. I learned how to cook the whip game from the Jamaicans, right? So I got this whole, they getting the powder and I'm looking like, and I knew the game about how to skim off of the cook by throwing the gel into the sink with the towel on top of it. That's a whole nother game where you could steal 2-3 ounces off of a cook. So I'm getting all of these dudes coming to me saying, hey man, you know what to do with this? You know how to cook this? Because once you let one person know, everybody like, hey, they can cook. So now I'm getting all of these cook contracts. Man, listen, I went from being broke, getting out in 94, to 50 grand in like 2 weeks from cooking.
You went from getting out broke from jail to $50,000 in 2 weeks.
$50,000 from cooking. And guess how I was doing it? I was charging 3 ounces per key and any shake that's left over from getting you a 36. Then I was taking the 3 ounces that they would give me. Then I was also slapping gel in the sink, and I used to keep a bin that where I would pour off each ounce. The flake that come down in it would come down into the bin. They were just happy to have a solid 36, right? That's weighted. They gone. Bro, off each cook, I'm running 12, 15 cookies. And, you know, back then it was kind of more of an eye thing, you know. But these dudes who had to work, though, they was dealing with weight. They were, you know. Bro, so I come up quick. And at that point, now I'm back in the saddle. I got more money than I've ever had before because I never could get past 18. You know what I mean? So now I'm like really in the seat. And my stepdad is about to come home. So I run into these cats from West Palm. They see me and they look, you know, they're like, damn. So they stop me like, bro, what's up, man? When you from here? What's the haps? So I tell them about my Uncle Spot and to come hang out. And you can tell another, when you from here? I'm like, look, bro, what's up? Y'all got weight? They like, yeah. So we meet up. They show me what they got. I'm like, all right, I can work with y'all. They had some pretty good prices, but they had cook. But they had cook that I could take and cook back down, stretch, and still make money off of, right? Make a lot of money off of. So I'm working with them a little bit. So I'm still getting these cook contracts. I'm low key. I met a girl, man, who didn't come from that life. And we really clicked. And now it's like, okay, with these cook contracts, I'm good. So this is what happened. The cook contracts dry up. I had like 20 ounces, man. Suddenly I run through it because a drought is hitting. A drought hit in 94, bro. And it was a heavy one. And my stepdad called and said, man, he was getting out. He said, come pick me up. I'm out. I go pick him up. He come live with us. So he's like.
Did he do Fed time?
Yeah. When I pick him up, he has to do all of his supervised release and get set up at my grandma's.
I'm familiar.
Right. So he's like, well, I see the pretty cars outside and the nice apartment, but why you sitting in the house? What's going on? Because he's a street beater. My stepdad, the streets is him, boy. If they had a picture for the streets, his face would be on it, right? I'm like, man, it's a drought. Well, what's going on? It's been a drought, Pop. It ain't been no work. I done called all my people everywhere. It's dead locked up. He said, man, let me make a phone call. This man makes a phone call. About 1 a.m, my phone started ringing. I answered. Dude said, man, let me speak to Granddaddy. Granddaddy called his phone. I'm like, yeah, hold on. Give it to my stepdad. He said, yeah. Hey, yeah, I need you here. This is what's up. Yeah. Just like that. Just pig Latin, you know. Man, about 4 a.m, I get a call. And he said, hey, tell Granddad I'll be pulling in probably about 10 or 11 in the morning. I'm like, all right. Man, 10 or 11 in the morning, dude call again, say, hey, man, I'm up here at the corner. He pulled up in front of my apartment. I was living in some luxury apartment called Heritage at the time. And they had all of these pretty Greek goddesses and fountains. And I had a poolside apartment. And my apartment was really laid, bro. Our apartment was tight. Well, the dude pull up. Candy, yam color Acura. Laser light in the back. He had the Momos. They had changed over from the spoke rims to the 17, 18-inch Momo game, you know, at the time. And dude jumped out. He was about 7 feet tall, man. Bullshit you not. He hugged my pops, man. They had did time together in the fields and that Talladega, I guess. And we go upstairs. We talk for a minute. He like, I hear you got some trouble. I'm like, yeah, I think it's crazy. All right. He had another dude with him. he goes downstairs. The other dude comes back up, brings a duffel bag, opens the duffel bag up. He got 3 clean birds, stamps on them.
In the middle of a drought, huh?
In the middle of a drought.
Here comes the rain.
Oh, man. Oh, boy. When you said that, I heard that song by Stevie Nicks, boy.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it. And that's what happened, bro. He blesses my stepdad with a 9. And he had a relationship with an older cousin of mine. Me and her like this. He's a good dude. Me and him still pretty solid today, you know. Changed his life, too. So he'll be a good interview. We'll talk about that later. But he says, hey, what cash you looking like? Man, I had $7,000, man. I had to went down because I had all these expenses. I went from like 79 grand to $7,000, man, you know? And I give him the 7 grand. He gives me the 2 3/4, you know? I get it. He like, hey, just call me when you done. You know, he give me a wasn't no drought number, you know. I get it. And I said, man, it's a drought. I know I'm gonna experiment. So what I started doing was, I'm like, man, I could make this stretch. I know how to stretch it. Let me see if I could do the 1-2. This is before the whip game got popular. I come up with this recipe and I turned 2 of them birds after kind of learning it off the 3/4. I turned 2 of them birds into 4. And that's when my ascension started to where I really started making money. At that point.
Were you still selling pure powder? You were just selling?
No,
or you were breaking it down?
I was turning 2 keys into 1, dropping the price down to $550, $600 a cookie, and getting rid of it instantly.
You didn't lose the quality?
No. The reason why I didn't lose the quality, I came up with this recipe of wick powder milk. I watched Stan and I watched the Jamaican stretch with B12 and benzocaine, and they used wick milk one particular day. And I remembered that wick milk kept the volume and they ain't have no problems out of it. You know what I mean? It always stuck with me. So I ended up getting some wick milk, and the work was oil based already. I like oil based. I didn't like white. You know, white was overrated for me. Oil based gave me more volume. It gave me a better stretch without losing the quality, right? So, and then I used ammonia. I finished with ammonia. So when I whipped into the cake mix, put the powdered milk on it, put another hit on it, a little bit of water. Then I dropped a spray or a cap of ammonia in it and blocked it up. Turn it in like a sauce and it wouldn't break. So in the middle of a drought, and at that time at 94, things were, the drought didn't let up. It was off and on. So prices stayed high from like 94 to like early 96.
2 years.
Yeah. For them 2 years, man.
You were the plug.
I was the plug. Yeah. And this was the unique part about it too. When I paid him his money from that first load, he went back. He let the dude that was riding with him stay because I moved to work so fast. He was like, whoa, man, I'm just finna go down here and turn right back around because I can't get nobody to travel up the road. I'm gonna go get it and come back. He gets knocked off with the money going back. Bro, I was heartbroken. He was trying to talk me into sending my money too. I was like, He didn't know what I was doing either. He didn't know that I had as much money. I had made as much money because I didn't tell him my business like that.
Right.
He knew that I made a little bit of money, and I didn't send not one coin. I was like, nah, I'll just wait till you come back. You know what I mean? And I'm glad I did, because I'm either like, ain't no in between for me. I'm either go all in or nothing. You know what I mean? And he gets pulled, man, and get hit with that money, and he violates federal parole. He goes back. Stayed solid though. You know what I mean? And my dad called and said, man, you know, I ain't gonna call his nickname because he's from down this way too. His grandma called, said he got pulled. They got him with the money and everything. Like, damn. The dude that was at my house though said, man, listen, don't worry about nothing. I seen this with my own eyes. Pay for me to get back. And I promise you, I got you. I'm going to call, and I'm either coming back up here or I'm going to send for you. I know who everybody is and whatnot. I fly him back down, bro. I paid for his plane ticket, flying back down. Lo and behold, about a week later, he pulled back up on me. He ain't even called me. And we had a good working relationship for about a year, right? Making good money. It's a different feeling. Meeting your first $100,000 is like making your first $1 million in the drug business. When I seen first crack that shell of $100,000, man, I had a party.
And back then, $100,000 was $100,000.
Was $100,000. And I had got close on that run with when he got knocked off with the money. I was a little bit short. When he came, soon as we cracked it open, I did the first run, I had $100,000. I was like, bro, I'm good. And as a young kid, you dream of making that $100,000. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay. So we ran good for about a year, right? And I was stacking really good money because he was bringing clean work. And I was doubling it up. And then I learned from a partner of mine from Texas how to take the baby, the wick and the procaine, sift it down, take a quarter out, re-sift it, and reblock it. Now I'm selling the dude from Alabama powder for a higher price with a quarter pulled out, the re-rock game. So things are going really good. I allowed a cousin of mine into my business, started fronting work. He was a wild hair. My cousin was doing 30 years for a murder, and he was his younger brother. And he asked me, man, help him out, help him. So I brought him in and started giving him a 10-pack. He just was wild. He ended up coming to the apartment, and I kind of showed him what it was I was doing. He seen it. He like, man, you turning 2 ounces into one, I'm like, nah. He like, yeah, you is, I'm like, I dropped the price for the ounces to $4.54. You give me $4.50. To kind of keep his mouth closed. The nigga ended up breaking into one of my apartments, one of my cook apartments anyway.
It's always family.
It's always
family. I have a story about a cousin that broke into my house and stole all my stuff too. I'll save that for another time. This is about you. This isn't about me. So, go ahead. So the cousin breaks into your house.
So yeah, I was going to a Outkast and 8 Ball and MJG concert that my uncle, his partner, and me had brought them to the Shriners Temple in Mobile. I used to got into club promotion with my uncle, right? Put money in, and he knew it because this is his uncle, and he doubled back thinking I was going to Mobile and broke into the house. I had like 12 ounces in there and some money. He steals it. But what gave him away back then, even to this, back then, they used to have, you could pre-order Jordans. And I know the sports guys in the city, you know what I mean? And Roy Jones had a store back then called RJJ Sportswear. I was invited to the grand opening. And you could order, he was on Jordan brand back then. And you could order through Roy, his store, specialty Jordans. About 2 weeks later, I I pull up at my aunt's house. He's looking all like he's a Tony Montana's plug Sosa, acting like he's. I happened to look down. I had another cat from Miami with me, and I happened to look down at his feet. Dude wear size 12, man. I wear 10, man. I look down. It's powder blue Chapel Hill custom Jordans, his feet balled up in, that I ordered from, that was stole that night from the. So anyway, something, you hate to put family on blast. But anyway, I found out he did that. I cut him off. But he told my guy what I was doing, because I kept my people when they were close to me. When I would go to Miami, I would be with their family. They would come. They were like family. He told my connect what it was that I was doing. Oh, this dude got money out the ass. You just don't know. This is what he told my whole play. So my people come to me and like, bro, they telling me you got the double up game going on. That ain't your business though. That's what I'm telling him. Well, I pay you what I owe you. If you want a number, I pay you for it. If you want to give me something, I pay you the tag on it. What you worry about what's in my pocket from? That's how you buying this then. That's how that's how you are able to afford this. Cause now, me and my best friend who were on two different trajectories, everybody thought we were on the same trajectory. He has his different plug. I have mine. He's one of my clients though, on the cook side. We're buying new cars now. We doing the new trucks, the new 300s, the new luxury whips, right? Still
during the drought from 94 to 96?
This is 96. This is when we're really getting into the, we finna start stunting.
Okay.
Kind of era.
So in 96, what kind of money are you pulling in at that point?
96, man, I'm liquid probably about $500,000 at least. And if you know anything about the way money comes in the drug business, you don't keep all your money in one spot. So I got money like in 4 or 5 different places that I'm like, okay. But this is how I was taught. You don't accumulate all the money. You accumulate weight. And then when the drought does hit, you control the market. So I had about that much liquid, and I was probably about $600,000 in work. So I was right at $1 million.
$600,000 in powder?
$600,000 in powder, yeah.
How much were keys back then?
I was doing on delivery, 20. Off delivery, 18.5 pickup.
So you're talking about you had 30 keys put away?
No. I had right around 8, 9 keys, but you got to remember, those keys are 2 for 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything else, though, is cars, clothes, bonding people out of jail, paying people bills, losses. Then you're taking care of
the drug business.
Not even that. We ain't gonna
charge it to the game.
We ain't gonna get to that. We got the girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Me and her family were cool. I got my mom side of the family. I got my stepdad's side of the family. I got my real dad's side of the family. And I got homeboys. So now it's like people don't realize how much goes out.
Right.
They think that all of that money stays in. Everybody ain't gonna pay you either. And it ain't like the movies where you can go and you breaking everybody's jaw or you pistol whipping. You can't do that. So I had more money in the streets with people who owed me, and I really had to charge it to the game because I had too much to lose if I was to put a pistol on them or put something. Okay. So I'm liquid about about $500,000. You know what I mean?
And 600,000 in assets. Let's call it
in work. That ain't even including. I'm getting ready to buy property to build a house. I got a condo. I got all of these assets. I got properties I'm buying in other people's name. You know what I mean? I can't put nothing in my name.
Right.
You know? So now in 96, it's like I feel like I'm straight now though. I feel like I got all this shit figured out, but not knowing that years later, I'm gonna see all the holes in the game. Because I'm not legit.
Right.
I don't have really anything. Honestly, I can't put the money in the bank. I can't tell people I got to work. I can't put any of the properties in my name. But it's like what we want to do in legal business. We want to control everything but own nothing. In reality, in the game, it's like that. But you never end up with anything, you know?
Right.
So around that time, things are heating up, things are getting good, and this is what takes me to the next level. He tells my connect what happened. The connect, he's like, okay, well look, let's do a deal. I can go back. I'm gonna talk to my people about what you're doing. Just show me what you're doing, bro. I ain't gonna try to get in your space, but it can get us more work, you know? Like, okay. I show him. He's just like, man, why you ain't been told me this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bro, you come from down south, you're supposed to know about this, but it really hadn't picked up yet. It was a different game. The synthetic game and the whip game was two totally different things, right? The risk game was still kind of secretive, and it was an art to it. It wasn't putting B12 and blowing up drugs and losing quality. It wasn't that. It was keeping the quality, keeping the density, and keeping the weight, you know? Some people use water. Mine was different. My weight I didn't have to put a bunch of water in it. I had a recipe. He goes to South Florida. They already wanted to meet me anyway. They like, man, he would never let them meet me until now. He brings them up my way, and they want to meet. We meet. He's like, yo, they're Panamanian, by the way. He's like, yo, man, Maze, you're a young guy. You sure this is the dude, you know? Like, yeah, this. So we have dinner, and they like, look, we just want to see if what he says is true. We want to see what you can do. If you can do that, then we can work out some even better numbers. You know what I mean? Because it kind of guarantees us that it's not going to be an issue if we bring this much, up. I'm like, cool. I go back to their hotel. They give me a quarter brick. I turn it into 18 with extras left. Because this was the thing about the work that they were bringing. A lot of people don't know that if you're getting clean work off the boat, it ain't just 36 a lot of times. I used to get 38. I even got 41 ounces out of bird one time. I was weighing it over again. Like, did we just get 41 ounces out the bird? So I got extra out of it. And they were like, wow, this is good. And they were like, just give me 2,000. They gave me a quarter bird for $2,000. And right after that, we struck a deal. They wanted to give us double what I could buy and what he could buy. And we cook it, and then we pay them, and then we split. So I had a team of people around me that was moving work for me at this point. And I had an older OG that was with me. He was like, hey, man, look, that's not a good deal. You already doing all the work. What do you need that deal for? You got the cash. You can just buy straight from them. What is he doing? And he was right. He say, bro, look, they need you. They not going to give you up. Call them back, because they gave me their number. Call them back and say, hey, man, you don't want to do that deal. That don't work for you. You getting pimped. And he was right. I called, out of respect, though, I called my guy and said, hey, man, I can't do that deal. I don't need that equation. My shit working perfect for me. You know what I mean? He got hot. So we all met again at my apartment. And they were like, look, we respect it. Okay. They told him, we're going to compensate you. Don't worry about it. This I knew how heavy they were. They told him, don't play. We got him. We got you too. Good. After that, me and him saw each other 2 years later, but I started dealing directly with them.
All right, guys, taking a quick break from the podcast to talk to you about Gus Villa Jewelry. Yo, let's be real here for a second. If you're rocking plain jewelry in Miami, of all places, you are doing it 100% wrong, my boy. Step your game up with Gus Villa Jewelry, the plug for real Cuban link gold and silver chains. And of course, the cleanest Rolexes in all of Miami. This isn't factory made or watered down or any of that stuff. This is high quality, custom, handmade stuff that shines from here to the moon. It turns heads, starts conversations, and makes you look fresh. Gus has something that'll level up your whole vibe. And because you're locked in here with us at Honor Among Thieves Podcast, you're getting a hookup. Use the promo code Montana at checkout. Get 5% off your entire order. That's right, 5% off. Go check them out at GusVillaJewelry.com or pull up on them in the Diamond District down here in downtown Miami. GusVillaJewelry.com. Again, that's GusVillaJewelry.com. And tell them your boy Montana sent you. Gus Villa Jewelry. Now back to the podcast. So would you say that was the pivotal moment when you got the big plug?
Yeah. It put me in a position to where I could get at least 20 birds if I wanted it.
Now we're talking. And you're still doubling up?
No. I still doubled up for certain people.
Okay.
For them. But the price was so good and the quality was so good that it was like, bro, why you taxing like that?
Right.
Move this shit. This was the OG that told me, man, call them people back. You don't need that deal. He was like my right-hand lieutenant, and he was my advisor. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was three of us. It was me, it was him, and I had a young lieutenant, man, who was a young phenom that was on our team too. So we was a three-headed monster. At that point, we had about 30 people that we used to be serving. So I would just cook for them, and I started doing the re-rocking, re-breaking. And I was selling quarters and halves and sometimes a whole unit, you know what I mean? And at that point, they brought me some work, and it was too much work. I'm in a small town. So we started traveling to Enterprise, remember those little small, and putting down with people. Then I had cousins in Atlanta, so I started going to Atlanta. Things are moving real good. Money's great. And I don't want to glorify the game, man. My main thing is you see enough of this stuff on TV. So this interview with us is all about shedding light on how the game tricks us and how we're really not given the whole play. We're built up, pushed through a funnel. Once that funnel has us in it, the money's snatched, the arrest comes, and we're locked away. And our family is stuck holding the bill because they love us, right? So I'm just going to paraphrase. We buying all of these luxury cars. We're traveling. We're in Atlanta. We're at the Freakniks, at the Capital Luau's.
Would you say this is like big boy, kind of like 7-8 figure range now?
This is $1 million shit, man. You know, this is where all of us are sitting around talking about what type of cars we're going to go buy and, you know, how can we get this ordered? Because at the time I had connected and partnered with a pre-owned car dealership. And I had a car wash and a couple other things put up there. And I was trying to move low key and not let everybody know my business in that spot. But with the car dealership, I wanted people to know because I started bringing more business, right? But I'm out of town most of the time. And it comes to this point now where you're always feeling like you're being watched and the phone calls start coming. You know the phone calls I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so the phone calls start coming. Cousins and homeboys who are in the feds. Yo, people up here. These are cats that you respect, but you know that they're not right.
Right.
Because they're working with agents. but they respect me because I was the type of cat that if you did something for me and you taught me something, I had an outlet to be able to give you money and send you money. Bro, I got money out the ass. If I see somebody and I see their mom in the store, I might give them a band. Hey, this is for you and this for your son. And that went a long way. It went to a point to where that seed was planted to a lot of cats decided not to come back on me. They said, man, tell him I ain't coming back on. He's a good dude. You know what I mean? They had other fish to fry.
Right.
You know? And so now things are great, bro. It's like I get the work and run it for 2 months. I'm off for 6. I'm traveling. I'm buying clothes every day. My ladies, designer, foreign whip, custom jewels. We doing our thing, right? Traveling. And it gets old. It got old. The reason why I got old because now, and this is pay close attention, audience. It's people in the game that are the same level as you, or maybe a little bit bigger or a little bit under you. It depends on who's luckier on the board. People start getting knocked off. So you're here, and my OG and my uncle and my dad them call it a dragnet. Then the dragnet gets tighter because that levels get knocked off. This level gets knocked off. Boom. So now, this is what happens. I have a close associate, who kind of felt like we were in a competition. And he went to buy a car and took $75,000 cash to the car dealership. Instead of coming to me and getting the car, I could have got the paperwork right. He didn't want to do it through me because he felt like I was, competition. We were kids though. He goes and buys this car, $75,000 cash. The people tell him, don't worry about the taxes, we got you. Soon as he drive off the lot with the vehicle, from what the criminal complaint says, the dealer files the IRS report. The IRS gets the report, runs the report. The car's in his name, right? They see that he's never had a job a day in his life.
He wanted to get arrested. That's crazy.
When they see that he never had a job in his life, of course they're going to run a criminal history. 2 prior crack cases. Who they turn the file over to?
The big boys. Graduation.
Congratulations. Now, mind you, I'm still, even though I'm in the streets and I'm known in the streets, I'm still relatively under the radar.
Right.
Bro. Seriously, because I hadn't really started flaunting and doing a lot of stuff yet, right? He has. Now, when they take his file to the DEA, the first thing they do is, who they take it to?
Up north.
Yeah, but they also first, they say, okay, here's the file on this guy. Run your network on him. They're going to take it to all of their CSs, confidential sources.
Right.
The confidential sources say, yeah, we know him. We know him. He be with Dame. So they're like, Dame? Who is Dame? I keep coming up from, then they take the file and take it into the prisons. Mariana was a real heavy 5K1 camp. Mariana federal prison camp.
It's a women's camp now.
I heard. But back in the 90s, Mariana, Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa was the holdover. Mariana was the staging for keep them close so they can go to court, right? I'm getting the calls now. Hey, your name coming up. Your name, So.
It's that scene in American Gangster when Frank Lucas was wearing the Mink at the boxing match. You remember that?
Yeah.
And they were like, Frank Lucas. Who's
and
Frank Lucas?
I'm finna get to that point right there too. I had a bunch of old schools, man. Nice, tricked out old schools. But that's a custom up our way, right? It ain't no real big thing. At that time, my OG was like, you know what, man? We can't take it with us. So everybody started buying new cars, tricking out new shit, new spaceships. That's what we call them. I'm the last one to do it. I'm like, you know what? I ain't finna, not here. Atlanta, I'm hanging out. I spaceship it at home, and the whip that I brought, it was a 1996 Eldorado Barretts. Showroom, all white rag, all white guts, all white headliner. Cadillac, wire wheels, all gold package. I was in Grip magazine against Too Short. I beat his 911. This was Freaknik 96. They had a magazine called Grip. Stupid decision because I was egged into getting the car because we're going to do Cadillacs. We all had bought the new showroom car, the new showroom short bodies. You know what I mean? And in that smaller city, Atlanta, no problem. DC, no problem. You know, we was doing way other stuff in Atlanta with no issue. But that was the like kick in the face for law enforcement. They pulled me over. And the night because we had these bring out things where we would bring cars out. And I brought the car out. It was Christmas Eve, 1996. And me and all of us rode around and we handed out $100 bills to all our family and friends in a line, each neighborhood. And that was the Frank Lucas moment. It was like, who in the fuck? And they pulled me over. And they stopped me and the DEA came and they looked at the cars and they were like, digital dashes with 32 miles on it with this. And then had the custom paint. We didn't wait. We went and got the custom Cadillac paint and all of this stuff. You know what I mean? And it's like the stuff that we ain't really been taught. And the first thing that my pop said, my real dad said was, welcome to prison. Boy, you going. You just punched your ticket. You know what I mean? So this how prison hits. My best friend, he was in another, the DEA for some reason thought that me and him were plugged into the same connect. We weren't. He just was a client of mine for Cook, and we would serve each other whenever we were. He gets hit on a reverse sting with DEA, right? At the end of the night, they're wondering why I hadn't showed up at the hotel because his plug got hit in Miami first. The plug got followed by DEA from Miami, set up a sting at these hotels and the whole nine. I find this out later on after my supersede was getting ready to be kicked in and kicked back out of the federal system, right? DEA sitting around twiddling their thumbs. Why is Thrash not showing up to buy work from my partner's plug? Anyway, they roundhouse everybody. They get everybody that came to that room. They got them on tape and film. My best friend ended up getting away because he went to his brother's house, dropped him off a bird, and went up to an apartment, to this girl apartment, to hang out with her. And he ends up, when they kick all the doors in, he's nowhere to be found because it's an apartment. They didn't know where he went. Anyhow, now they're pressing me because now I didn't show up at the hotel. Now they realize, hold up. From what our intel telling us, he's the motherfucker. And he may even know where this person is. So now they own all my cars. They pulling everything over. They even kicked my door in when they kicked his door in, one of my spots in that night, looking for him. They pulled me. I was in Atlanta at the time. They pulled me over on 285, FBI. And the excuse was that my truck fit the description of a bank robbery. So I'm sitting on the side of 285, FBI, not DEA. I don't know what the fuck the FBI was, what that was all about. Guess it was to make it seem like the bank robbery or whatever, some shit. But one of our partners, a dude I used to work for, had just got out of prison. I took him to Atlanta, take him shopping, took him to Lenox, the whole nine. Dude ain't been out of prison 24 hours. He's shaking like Don Knotts. He's shaking because he heard all of this shit in prison. He ready to get out. He's finally there. And I'm telling him, man, shit finna wind down. Shit kind of crazy. You know what I mean? You know how you getting that feeling? And lo and behold, he's like, bro, just fly me back, man. You know, he just like want to get away from. And I didn't blame him. So they ended up letting me go, but they still hadn't found him. Now I pulled the fuck away. They ended up catching him. And how they ended up catching him, he contacts me. When he contacts me, I tell him, bro, I'm hot as a firecracker. He's comes to the city to track some dudes down that owe him money. Bro, what is you doing? I can get 5 years just for being with you. Anyway, I said, okay, you want to go see these dudes? They having a party up here. I took him to the party. He went to this party, man. Went up to the party, talked to these people about his money. Bro, I got the hell out of there, right? The next, I drop him off with this girl. I say, look, man, here goes some money because they freezed all his accounts. Here goes some money. Bro, go the fuck back where you at, right? All right, cuz. Well, look, in the morning, I'm going to get with her. I'm going to take care of whatever. I just need you to take me over. No, I can't take you anywhere. So what I do is I leave him that night. I go with one of my other girlfriends, go to the apartment. I get a call. We had this person that was a confidential source that used to feed us information, right? He said, hey, people looking for you, boy. They know that person was with you last night. Bro, they at all my people's house looking for me. Bro, I jump in my truck, I'm riding down the street. They rush me. They take me to DA headquarters. They grilling me. Oh, you going to prison? I ain't in that. Bro, they don't have nothing on me at this point, bro. I could have.
So what was their excuse to round you up?
Because they wanted me, they still know he's in the vicinity. And they want me to
to give him up.
To give him up. Bro, I didn't know where the fuck he was at. I dropped him off that morning. You feel me? Long story short, he goes to his sister's house and get a girl to take him to his sister's house and gets caught. Mind you, we cool now. That's my bro. I always love him. But we were kids. That was his excuse to say that I was the person that fucked him over.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to get to the real bread and meat. He goes in. They don't have shit on me. He's the missing piece to why I didn't show up at the hotel room. Which is, I didn't deal with your plug. He has a whole nother connect. So now they get this piece of intel. And like in my last interview, I was with Kyle, I was talking about how I regressed and I left the game and people were mad as fuck at me. And my Cuban friend came and showed up. I had been out of the game, man, for almost 7 months, man. And I just couldn't. It's like we don't understand how embedded we are into the drug business, especially at that particular level, when all of these people are taking what they call interest because you've made them codependent, right? So now I'm the worst person in the world, and I got no friends, and I got a few people, and I can't move. I'm hot, and it's like all the people who are saying "fuck Dame," I want to get back at them, right? I had long told my connect that, hey, I'm done, and they were like, hey, let your yays be yays, your nays be nays. You say you're done, you're done. So I couldn't call them and say, I don't want to get back in, because they know I was been stupid. You just got this and this. No. They would have felt like I was trying to fuck them over.
Yeah.
So just so happened, this Cuban friend of mine that I met at one of them events, we still good friends to this day. he comes and shows up and says, hey, man, my nephew shot up people in Havana with a chopper. Hot. I need to just move this. This is the price. You can give me half now. He was a dream ticket. It was good. He just needed to get rid of the work. I take it. But this is where I fucked up at. In that period of not being in the streets, I'm sitting at my house playing PlayStation 2. And I got my cousin's husband's younger brother, who I partially raised, even though he's around the same age as me. I've been in the streets way longer than him. My cousin's husband is in the feds at, I think he was at Yazoo at the time.
Mississippi.
In Mississippi. While they were together, I'm sending $300 a month. Faithful. Hey, say it good? Send him another $200. You know how he good, but she ends up leaving him. She gets with another guy that's associated with my best friend's crew. They take it up a notch. Now he's left with 28 years. He decides to, or his case agent said, you know what, let's go to talk to him because he might can get a buy on Dame. Either it came that way. That's how it came in the paperwork. They went and seen him at the prison and said, hey, can you get a buy on Dame, right? He's like, yeah. So what he did was he called his younger brother, the one I'm playing PlayStation 2 with at my house, and gets him to meet his case agent and come up with the strategy to get me to sell him weight. But I ain't selling weight at the time because I hadn't ran into my guy yet, right? Bro, my guy shows up, and the first thing you do when you've been out of the loop for a while is you're going to pick the people who you want to fuck with, and you're going to shit on all the people who shitted on you, who said fuck you and all that, right? So I picked all the people, and bro, I'm good. My numbers were a little bit better. Everything was cleaner. I had been out the game for a minute. You know what? Fuck this shit. It's my time. You know what I mean? And I put my cousin's husband's younger brother on. So this is how I ended up catching the case. He's a federal confidential source working. This is the whole thing. The meats thing was about the third-party communication. This is how I get fucked up on the third party. Soon as I called everybody and put everybody in position, I called him too. Okay, you've been bugging me about this whole situation. What you trying to do? Oh, I'm trying to do a 9. I got a little money saved. Okay, cool. I give him the 9. He come back. He give me the money. He had to get the money. He got the money from DEA. I wasn't thinking that because he hustled, right? Things moving. I'm moving low key because I know shit hot. My best friend is telling on me, and I'm like, finna run it up. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Then I'm finna disappear like a ghost. Next time he called, maybe a week and a half later, hey, I'm trying to double up. But I got this much. You'll give me half of this? Yeah, just give me that and give me the rest. Boom. Give him the half. About a month go by. This is a DEA funded case. U.S. attorney has commissioned them to do buy walks on me. State do buy bus. Feds do the buy walk game. They trying to build a cumulative weight. So on the last buy, it was for a whole unit. I got my OG with me, and I got a partner of mine who's stone cold killer, man. He was one of the youngest dudes that I ever seen. His aunt was married to a Colombian out of Houston, Texas. They had weight in the 90's that was crazy. He was like my lifeline, one of my lifelines in the 90's. But at this time, the feds had to knock this auntie and them off. They doing fucked up, and I'm looking out, So he like, man, who you finna get that joint to? I'm like, such and such. Even though he fucked me over, I still ain't been gonna give him the credits and put him on the podcast. He like, by this time, we pulling up to his townhouse. And come to find out, I'm fucking his baby mama. She's a Colombian chick too. And me and her had really got close. And when I found out that he's her baby mom, I'm like, oh man, I didn't even know he was a source though. I'm feeling bad because I met his baby mom and we done forged this, spot.
Irony makes a good story.
Bro, it's crazy. Cause I'm from a small city, man. And it's like, oh man, and my partner like, bro, I helped to get the townhouse. He like, bro, living in the townhouse, bro. It's a joke, like. But my partner was like, bro, for real, he ain't moving that type of, bro. He usually be about the gunplay, and you know he grew up with us. Nigga, you help, what is you doing? And it kind of hit me like, and my OG was like, look, get the unit and give to my other partner who was married, his aunt was married to the. When we go in the house, you get out the car, go to the back and just go, run. We'll call you, because we had cell phones. We'll call you. So we get out the rental. We give him the money and the work. He sits in the car. When we go in, he waits a minute. He gets out and goes and he runs. We go in, we talking to him. And he's like, yeah, let's go outside. He always wanted to go outside to take care of the business. So when we get out, we say, hold up 1 minute. We jump in the car and we pull off. Bro, when we pull off and get outside the apartment complex, DEA hit us. They put us in the back of the police car. They know my partner. Where he at? They looking for him. Helicopters, the whole nine. I'm thinking I'm going to jail. I'm thinking I done sold. They don't take me. They like, we got your ass. We got you. So they let me go, bro. I go home. My lawyer called me. My dad called me. And he's like, something ain't right. So I sit for maybe a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks go by and they snatch me in the mall. They say, hey, we got you. They grab me, take me to DEA headquarters. We can do whatever we can do now, but you got two choices. You can work with us right now, or you can go ahead and we can arrest you and go to jail. I said, I'm good. Let's go. I got you. Whatever y'all want to do, I got you. Oh, tell me, if you fuck us over, they let me go. After my stint from going to the West Coast, going to Houston, and coming back to Tampa, after being on the run from their asses, the U.S. Marshal Task Force arrested me in Tampa. So that's how I ended up getting arrested on the case. But this is the unique part. The reason they let me go was the U.S. attorney was in a decision-making process because the 9 that I sold him, the buy wasn't controlled. The half that I sold him, though I found out later, it was no audio. They never got the unit from the 3rd. So the buy walks, they never caught me clearly. So the U.S., while they was trying to figure out whether to take me to the grand jury with the hold, it was like either we take him to the grand jury or we take him to the state. But this is another equation that came in that I forgot about. Some money got hit that I had from Atlanta. And the case agent that was assigned to me at the time, he was good. But there was another case agent that everybody hated in that district. The case agent that was trying to turn me, before I got on the run, that other case agent tried to make me go buy dope from people, right? So I'm like, Pop, I'm finna go ahead and just hit it. I got all my shit put where I needed to go. He like, go ahead and hit it. But this what happened. The money that they hit about a month prior, when the people that was moving it from Atlanta to Pensacola for me, one of the girls that was on the case, they didn't know it was DEA. Every time she counts, she's calling in the number to her handler. When the money gets transported from Atlanta to Pensacola and they make the hit, because I had another female from Miami that used to run the work from Pensacola, from Miami to Pensacola to Atlanta and back and forth. She stole a quarter key when she got hit with the cash, so she flipped. But this was the determining factor. When the money got to Pensacola, a substantial amount of that money was missing. The reports ain't matching. My attorney, Ted Stokes, used to be a federal prosecutor. So all of this came into play. That's why I was pushed out of U.S. court. All of those little factors.
One thing I will tell you about the feds is they don't take a case unless it's airtight.
Nope.
So whether you were fortunate or unfortunate, I don't know.
I was blessed.
But
I'm going to tell you why I was blessed.
Tell me.
I had 2 prior crack possessions. And I had
you would have been a 3-strike loser.
I'd have been a life sentence, yeah. My offensive level was 46, I think.
So they gave you to the state.
Yeah.
What'd you get sentenced to?
20.
So on those 20, what do you serve?
17.
Okay. So when do you go in? When do you get out?
I go in September 28th, 2016. I get out September 28th, 2017. No, I went in September 28th, 99. And got out September 28th, 2016.
My brother, we got to do a part 2 because
Oh, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
I didn't even touch prison. You did 17 years in prison.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother odyssey.
And that's
You know
the
what I mean?
component where my life really changed. So we definitely got to hit part 2. But I'm just, this is the first time me telling my story because I wanted to wait until I redeemed myself and started operating in my purpose. And I wanted the right person to bring it out. And Nelson, you're the right person.
I appreciate that, brother. That means a lot. This is my purpose. You know what I mean? This is like, it's my calling.
Yeah.
It's
and you're authentic with it.
I appreciate that.
And like you said, your premise is to not glorify the game, but to tell the stories of, okay, how people went through that process and then how they hit that redemption.
100%.
But like you said, we're doing a wrap up right now. So just to tell the audience what I do now, I'm the founder and president of Ink to Ink, a smart justice and micro business agency. And we are partnered with universities and judicial municipalities in Tampa. We've helped hundreds of people transition and re-enter society and become successful, from business startup to predisposition, re-entry success planning. We have an internship program with USF right now. And what I'm doing, is the impossible from where I come from. And it wouldn't have been possible without, God stepping in while, doing my time. But when I got arrested, I went to trial too. So that's a whole nother thing. I had a 5-count state indictment. I beat 4 and lost on.
We'll go deep into the trial in part 2 for sure.
Yeah. So
Incarcerated to Incorporated. I love the name. I love what you're doing, my brother. You have one of the most powerful stories I've ever heard, and that's something coming from the storyteller. So
awesome.
This was mind blowing. I'm looking forward to doing part 2. How can people connect with you?
Connect with me at inktoink.org. That's our website. And we're on all platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok at Ink to Ink. Another thing, we're a nonprofit. We are a community-based organization, and we are looking for people who can support us in any way they can, from in-kind volunteering. But most importantly, man, the world runs on finance. We are a minority-owned and operated nonprofit that is tackling the most pressing issue in the urban community to this day. It's not HIV/AIDS anymore. And even though we're going through a situation where gun violence in our youth is a really big problem, our most pressing issue is incarceration. What we do here at Honor Among Thieves, with Ink to Ink, and with 700 Reentry School, is we're tackling a problem that's taboo to most people. 1 in 3 Black men are locked up in prison for nonviolent crimes. Imagine how many children who have incarcerated parents. And a lot of people always say, oh, it was choices. No, we all have the same choices, but depending on your area code determines your option. If you're from 90210, your options are different than 32 33610, you know? So our motto is invest in second chances. Invest in us. Donate to us so we can continue to move our programs. We can continue to expand our services, and we can break this cycle of incarceration that's economically suppressing our communities and our families of color. And again, we appreciate you. Appreciate you, Nelson, for having me on the show. And I'm looking forward to part 2, my brother.
Appreciate you, man. This is the beginning of a long business partnership relationship. I'm looking forward to building with you. Looking forward to getting your story out there and looking forward to the things we're going to do together.
Awesome.
All right, guys. That was another episode of Honor Among Thieves with your host, Nelson Rodriguez. Push it to the limit. The world is yours. If you're not chasing a dream, life is meaningless, guys. Catch you on the next one. Say goodnight to the bad guy.
So say goodnight to the bad guy.
You looking at the bad guy. This the last time that you ever see a bad guy like me. You don't have the guts to be who you wanna be.